Hi, I'm Mike Seymour from fxguide.com for Wired. Rogue One came from an idea from ILM's own John Knoll. And just as with the original Star Wars in 1977, John Knoll and the team at ILM used Rogue One to push the boundaries of visual effects, especially in the area of digital humans. While the film Rogue One is in contention for its own visual effects Oscar, the team at ILM have already won recognition from the Academy with a 2017 SciTech Award. The Oscars are awarded by the Academy of Arts and Sciences, and the Science and Technology Awards are not for a single film, but rather for a contribution to the craft, normally spanning years. In this case, 4 people who were at ILM have been honoured for the development of the Ilm Facial Pipeline. Actually, the facial pipeline that gives you Grand Moff Tarkin started much earlier when Kieran Bart and Michael Koppervass actually got together to work on the faces for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Michael actually had worked on Rango as a CG character animator, so he kind of knew what the artists were after, while Kieran is a kind of self-confessed maths guy. Now, Teenage Turtles was incredibly complex, and these guys were really pushed, completely had their hands full. So when ILM was awarded another big character film, Warcraft, a second team had to be put together to service the faces needed for that film. In this case, it was Brian Cantwell and Paige Warner. These 2 teams kind of worked separately, though sharing work, until they finished those films and then came together for the new Star Wars films. So how does a Tarkin or any other Star Wars character face pipeline work? Well, as with any character, it starts with the design of the character and then an actor that's going to drive it. So in the case of Mars from The Force Awakens, they had to come up with the character and then an actor who would drive that. And that actor then needs to be scanned a couple of different ways. So for example, if I wanted to be a Star Wars character, I would need to have 2 separate scans done. The first in a complex light stage, which would give a very high resolution picture of my skin and a kind of model of how my skin would react under different types of light. Here I'm pictured in the USC ICT light stage. I'm in a sort of sister rig to the one that the Rogue One team used down at Otoy in LA to scan actor Guy Henry. After the light stage, Guy then has to have another scan, this time in a Medusa rig, invented by ILM's sister company, Disney Research in Zurich. We visited them as well. You can theoretically make up pretty much any digital expression you like by adding and sort of subtracting or producing combinations of scans of blend shapes from this Fez library. Now we need Guy to actually go on set and deliver his real performance.
I will tell him that his patience with your misadventures has been rewarded with a weapon that will bring a swift end to the rebellion.
Any actor who's actually been filmed this way is being constantly filmed by 4 little cameras that are on a head-mounted rig, but nevertheless they can move around a lot quite naturally on set. And this is where the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle team, that face team I mentioned earlier, had a really brilliant breakthrough a few years ago. You see, what the computer tries to do is match up what they're getting from Guy on set with what Guy did when he was sitting quietly in the Medusa rig. The team then invented a thing called Snap Solver, which goes through and does tiny little movements to all of the parts of the face. Now, the team over on Warcraft was so impressed with this idea that they saw a way that they could use it and actually magnify the effect. And they got this Snap Solver to do a lot more heavy lifting on Warcraft. And thus, when the 2 teams came together, they had a really powerful face pipeline. Okay, so jump to the present day. In Rogue One, you have now this very accurate digital version of what Guy Henry did on set. Very, very faithful to his performance. Of course, we don't have a digital Tarkin yet. And here the modelers at ILM were very lucky because the actor, Peter Cushing, who played Tarkin, had a plaster life cast done of him in the mid-80s. And this was something, along with, of course, digital reference, that allowed them to produce a very accurate model of his face. Now, you might think that's it, right? Now all we have to do is retarget the information from Guy Henry's digital performance to this digital head, place it perhaps on the body of Guy Henry, and we're done. Unfortunately, it's not that simple. And so this is where the animators at ILM have to jump in to deliver a Tarkin with Peter's performance, not Guy. So even though Guy may produce a great performance that sounds and looks a lot like Tarkin, it's Peter's interpretation of the character that you're going to see on screen, thanks to this work that's done by the ILM animators.
The original plans for this station are kept there.
And it doesn't stop there. Of course, with modern techniques and modern styles, the film Rogue One isn't lit and shot the same way as the original New Hope. In fact, Gareth Edwards, the director, likes to himself grab the camera and film in a much more documentary style. So what had to happen is that the team in ILM had to render a digital Tarkin that looks and feels like we remember Tarkin, even though he's lit differently and, of course, a completely synthetic character. And it's a remarkable achievement.
The original plans for this station are kept there, I don't know.
Well, don't forget, subscribe for more behind-the-scenes action. I'm Mike Seymour for Wired.
May the Force be with us.